All right, sorry for the delay, everyone. Okay. All right, good. First of all, I want to welcome everyone to the program. Since there's 5 of you here, maybe we can just quickly go around and have everyone introduce themselves, including Emily and Eric. So let's start with let's go around this way, counterclockwise.
My name's Zach. My undergraduate was in physics, and I'm currently working as a field engineer at a medical tech company. And
oh, excellent.
Yeah, I thought I'd go back to school for signal processing.
Okay, excellent. Welcome, Zach.
My name is Han Fisher, and I am a Chinese international student. When I'm in China, I major in automobile engineering and
auto engineering. Okay.
And I haven't find an advisor, so I have some trouble in these classes. So maybe that's it.
Okay, and what did you say your name was?
Han Fisher.
Han Fishin?
Yes.
Han Fishin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Mind if I just call you Han? Okay. Welcome.
Myself Tejas Deshpande. I'm from Tejas Deshpande.
Tejas?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I'm from India, Pune, and I've done my undergrad in electrical engineering. And my area of interest is smart grid and power electronics. And that's it. I graduated in 2016, and then I worked in IT companies. And yeah, then I applied to Wayne State.
And what program are you interested in at Wayne State?
Smart grid and power electronics and
Smart
hybrid
grid.
electric vehicles.
Okay, great.
I'm Prashil Ranvich. I'm from Pune as well. I did my undergrad bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. I don't have any experience right now, so I can't say much about that. Yeah, my concentration is power and energy.
You're interested in power and energy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It was Adrian Snyder. I did a couple undergrads and masters at Florence Tech University with a company called FEB for a number of years with 6 before Warner doing electrical powertrain controls. I've spoken with Dr. Wayne, so he'll be my advisor as I continue. And area of interest is power electronics and motor controls.
Okay, great. Welcome, Adrian. We've spoken before. Hello.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi.
Can you tell us about where you're? Yeah, go. Come on in. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, let's have you go ahead. Introduce.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Asmin. I did my bachelor's in Tripoli. I'm from Bangladesh actually, but I came from UAE. So my concentration is mainly in embedded and computer networks, telecommunications.
Okay. Embedded system, computer networks.
Exactly. It's a bit towards computer engineering, but
okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, the two fields are merging right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And what your name was?
Asmin.
Asmin. Nice to meet you. And the 2 folks here who just joined us.
My name is Rupa.
Rupa.
I'm from India.
Nice to
I
meet
did
you.
my bachelor's in electrical engineering, and I graduated in 2009. So I have 5 years of experience in computer science in IT industry.
In the IT industry.
Yeah, and then I'm now back to electrical.
Okay, welcome. Rupa.
My name is Meghna.
Meghna, nice to meet
I'm
you.
from India. I've completed a bachelor's in electrical engineering. I passed out in May 2017.
Okay, excellent. And what are your areas of interest to study here?
Embedded systems.
Embedded systems. Okay, great. All right, Emily, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Emily Reeds. I'm the undergraduate academic advisor, but I do all of the paperwork for the master's students. So you'll see my name come across when it comes to all of your paperwork.
And Emily knows a lot about both the undergrad and graduate programs, so I often ask her questions. Eric?
I'm Eric Smeka. I primarily work with prospective students in coordinating our admissions process and recruitment, things of that nature, but I do a whole range of things. I typically also support our ISC graduate programs and our computer science programs and work with the dean's office. But as new students, if you have any points of confusion or strange circumstances that arise, I'm absolutely someone you can turn to see how we could resolve whatever issue you might be running into, or what department you need to talk to, or what individual you need to get a signature from. While most paperwork, for example, would go directly to Emily, there are a number of things that you might work with me on.
Eric is also well connected to the college level, the group that oversees all the graduate activities in the different departments.
Right. So different things you might run into. You might need to talk to the grad school, you might need to talk to financial aid or whatever, and you can use me as a liaison at the college to know exactly where you might need to go.
All right. And I'm Amar Basu, and I'm an associate professor, and I've been here since 2008 in this department. I teach courses in electronics and electromagnetics. My area of research, if anyone would like to come visit my lab, you're more than welcome to. My area of research is more in the biotech area. So I work on, my current projects involve imaging flow cytometry to identify individual cells. I also have projects related to microfluidics and lab on chip. So for doing diagnostics and things like single cell testing, high throughput testing, and so on. I also have a project related to wearable sensors for health monitoring. So I'm also the director of graduate programs here in our department. So my job is to get all of your academic questions answered and help guide you through your master's degree or PhD degree, whichever you're in. So I want to make the process as smooth for you as possible and make sure that you have all the information. I like to, I try to be as helpful as I can. My approach to our program is that I would like to get as much feedback from the students as possible. So I want you to feel very comfortable to come to my office. Please make an appointment beforehand. I'll get to that in a second. But I want you all to feel comfortable to ask me questions about your program, to give feedback and comments about our program. Hey, we would like to have classes offered at a later time, or oh, we would like to have this class reinstated into the program, and this class is not so interesting. These kinds of things. We want to get that feedback directly from the students. And so those are the kinds of information that I will get from you, and I will use that information to help make changes and improvements to our graduate program for you and for the other students who come to our program in the future. So regarding my availability, students who will tell you like that my schedule gets pretty crazy sometimes. It would be best if you have something that you need to talk to me about, you can make an appointment. So I have office hours twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 5 p.m. And if those times don't work for you, I'm glad to meet with you outside of office hours as well. What the process usually is, you can email me saying I'd like to meet with you about this topic. I'll reply to you with a time. And for those of you who are still getting familiar with our Office 365 system, I can actually reply to you with a calendar appointment, and it'll have the time, and you can just come to my office during that time. My office is 3133 Engineering, and it's just across the hall there. And then my appointment times comes in about like 15-minute slots. If you need longer, we can go longer. During my office hours, you can also come and wait. During my office hours, I usually give priority to the students who made appointments with me first, and I try to stick to that appointment time. Sometimes we run a little bit behind, but I do my best to do that. So if you don't want to wait for long periods of time, I suggest just making an appointment with me during the office hours. Okay, so I can see that many of you have come from China and India and UAE, right? Yeah, so you're probably experiencing your first very cold winter. And so I'll be the first to tell you that winters here, well, I won't be the first to tell you. You've already discovered that the winters here are very cold. But you will find that once the weather warms up in March and April, the weather in Michigan is actually quite pleasant. So just get a down jacket, get something very warm to get you through the next few months. And then you'll see that the weather here, and actually a lot of fun stuff to do in Detroit as well. So I'm going to talk about a few of those things as well. All right, so here's the agenda for today. We're going to talk about the master's program. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the program and mainly show you where to find additional information. And that additional information is what you're going to be spending most of your time on, at those links, and to show you where the information is. We're going to talk about our PhD program as well. I believe, Adrian, you're the only person here in the PhD program, so we might make that discussion a little bit abbreviated today, just in the interest of time. But I'll talk to you about where you can get the information. Okay. Plan of work. So just this semester, Wayne State is moving over to a new plan of work system. First of all, what is a plan of work? A plan of work is where you indicate, these are the courses that I plan to take to complete my degree. The department can look over those courses and say, okay, these set of courses will meet degree requirements, and it's also suitable for your career goals. Okay. In the past, we used to do plan of works in a handwritten document, but Wayne State now has moved over to an electronic system. So I would like to show everyone briefly how to do a plan of work submissions through DegreeWorks. Then Emily will talk about internships and CPT. I have one slide on that, so if Emily's not able to do that, I can do that. And Emily, do you want to talk about internships and CPT during orientation today? Okay. And Eric, is there any items that you want? No
pressing issues outside of what I think you have planned. So.
Okay. And tips for success, and we'll have some discussions and questions, and just a few things about how to get it around Detroit and enjoying life here in Detroit at Wayne State. And at any time, please just raise your hand or feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions. Main thing is to get all your questions answered. All right, so let me start off with the master's degree requirements. So most of you are in the master's degree program. And I imagine most of you are doing Plan C, or you have two options. Most of our students do Plan C, but a lot of our students, especially recently, have started to do the thesis option as well. I'll get into what the thesis option is and what the coursework option is. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. In the coursework option, you're taking classes only. In the thesis option, you're working with a faculty advisor, you're doing some research in a lab, and you are going to be doing a thesis. So generally, I suggest for those who want to get more involved in research, who have a specific area in mind, and they want to make sure that they're doing cutting-edge work in that area, cutting-edge experience in that area, the thesis option is more suitable. For those who are interested in getting just a broad overview of courses and are not interested in doing research, just want to take classes, then the coursework option is suitable for you. So what are the difference in degree requirements? You can see here that both of the degrees require 32 credits. Okay. Typically, our classes in our department are 4 credits each. You'll see that there are some exceptions. There's a couple classes in our department, typically the ones that are cross-listed with other departments. So they're being taught by other departments' faculty, but they're cross-listed with our department. Some courses like that are 3 credits. Okay. So you have to get to 32 credits total to complete your master's degree. Whether you're doing the Plan A thesis option or whether you're doing Plan C, the coursework option. So with the thesis option, you are required to take 4 courses in your major area at the 5,000 level and above, and with at least 1 at the 7,000 level and above. So a total of 4 courses in the major area, and generally 3 at the 5,000 level, and then 1 at the 7,000 level. Okay. In addition to that, you need to take 8 credits of ECE 8999, and that is the thesis course. So that course is not the type of course where you go and you sit down and you listen to lecture. This is a course where essentially you are spending your time working with your faculty advisor on a research project. And that research project will become your thesis. Your master's thesis is typically, you can imagine like maybe anywhere between 30 to 80 pages of a document, and you'll typically, we encourage you to write a conference style paper or a journal style paper with your faculty advisor. This is great for your resume. When employers look at, who they want to hire for jobs, one of the things they look at is grades. Second thing they look at is what kind of experience do you have, what kind of projects, what kind of technology do you know, and what kind of hands-on work have you done in that area. And another big thing that they look at is if you have publications, your resume will stand out, especially if it's a publication in a well-reputed journal. Another advantage to doing a thesis is that you will have a faculty advisor who's worked closely with you, and that faculty advisor can write you letters of recommendation. So the course if you're doing the coursework option, you can certainly get letters of recommendation as well from faculty members who you've taken classes with and who you have who are familiar with your work and would like to, you've done well in their class and they feel compelled to write you a letter of recommendation. Typically, when you do a thesis, you're working much more closely with an advisor, so it's easier to get that type of letter of recommendation. Okay. The last requirement here is that you have to complete and defend your MS thesis. So what does defend mean? You actually have to do a public presentation. Okay. Typically, the last term that you are a student, and the thesis presentation will be a set of PowerPoint slides. Typically, you'll present your slides for maybe half an hour to 40 minutes or so, and then there'll be 15 minutes for questions. So you'll be doing a seminar, and that seminar will be presented to, it'll be open to the public, but the main audience for your seminar will be your thesis committee. Okay, and I'll show you a little bit more information about how to form a thesis committee. The thesis committee will consist of your advisor, who will be the chair of the committee, and also 2 other faculty members. Okay. I'll go over some more information about that in a minute. I just want to go over what's on the slide first. Now, in the coursework option, the main difference between Plan A and Plan C is that in Plan A, you take 4 courses in the major area, and then in Plan C, you take 5 courses in the major area, and with at least 2 at the 7,000 level or above, instead of at least 1 at the 7,000 level or above. Okay, so basically, like these extra credits of thesis, instead of taking thesis credits, you're taking an extra course. So what is a major area course? So let's go to the website to look at that. So I'm going to send this PowerPoint out to everyone, and the PowerPoint actually has links in it. And so you can see this link is going to engineering.wayne.edu, to our ECE homepage, and it's going to our degree requirements. All right, so this page is very important. So I think everyone should bookmark this page, because this page is the one I'm going to be referring everyone to. This webpage has our updated degree requirements, and I always update this page if our degree requirements change. Generally, they won't change in the middle of the year. They'll change once a year. So what's on this page? You can, if you go to our electrical and computer engineering website, and then you click on degree programs, and then you click on Master of Science, since most of you are in the Master of Science program, and then you click on degree requirements. That's how you will get to this page. If you're in the PhD program, click on Doctor of Philosophy and click on degree requirements here, and this will give you all of our PhD degree requirements. All right, this is the place that you can go to for more information. In addition to that, let me also say that there's we've been using a university-wide tool called Blackboard. All right, Blackboard is going away this term. It's going to be changed to a new tool called Canvas, but Canvas will be similar to this. It's basically a website where we can have our course information. So we've created a course, not exactly a course, but something that looks like a course or an organization that is for all of our master's students, and there's a separate one for our PhD students. This Blackboard site is not available to the public. It's only available to students, and you have to log in to access it. But this site has a lot of announcements, so Emily will post announcements on here. I will post announcements on here, and they'll be available here. Any type of forms that you might need, you can go to this Content tab and select. There was, for example, we were doing a survey for some students, so we had the students fill out the survey here. There's a link here for policies and procedures. Okay, it looks like my internet connection stopped working. There's a link for policies, forms, and procedures, so those types of things, a lot of instructions on there, and how to do those types of things. So you'll find, especially if you're an international student, there's often like a maze and web of paperwork that you have to handle. We don't do that to make your life difficult. Some of it, a lot of it is just to comply with immigration regulations. So you'll see, if any of you end up doing an internship, you will hate the paperwork process. Because there's a lot of paperwork that has to be done. But again, our department is we're just trying to follow the U.S. immigration guidelines. It's very important that you stick to those paperworks very closely, as Emily will tell you. Okay, so getting back to my main point here, degree requirements. I want to go over this fairly closely. Again, there's two options here. Actually, there's two options in terms of what type of degree you want to do. We offer a Master's of Science in Computer Engineering, and we also offer a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. So the first thing you might want to do is choose between which one you would like to do. Computer engineering obviously has more of an emphasis on computer hardware. If you're interested just in computer software, then you can take courses in our department that are focused very much on software. But if you really are passionate just about software, then my suggestion is that you do a degree in computer science instead of computer engineering. In computer engineering means you're taking classes in software and hardware mix, so it's sort of the interface between the two. I won't say any more about that. Electrical engineering is, if you're interested in devices, systems, hardware, and also for those of you who are interested in things like signal processing, Zach mentioned that, and that also falls into the electrical engineering area. So I'll get into more of that in a second. Let's do our formal degree requirements first, and then I'll get into how you can select courses. So first is, if you're doing the thesis option, again, you're required 8 hours of thesis credits. The thesis topic has to be in the major area. And so if you click on this link here, you'll see our master's thesis policies. Okay, this walks you through exactly the steps that you need to do for your master's thesis. If you're interested in research, you're encouraged to consider Plan A, the thesis option. You have to choose a thesis advisor and a faculty advisor. So this is the first thing you'd want to do. If you're interested in thesis, think about what areas that you want to work in. I'll talk about our different faculty in our department and their areas of research. The student should select an advisor who serves as a committee chair, and then you have to choose an MS thesis committee. Okay, and this section here shows you the guidelines on how to choose a committee. Now, my suggestion to you is that if you're interested in doing a thesis, in your first semester, start talking to potential faculty advisors. Talk to the advisors, the faculty members who are in your area of interest and are willing to potentially serve as a thesis advisor. Work with them for a semester. Maybe volunteer in their lab and just get some experience, get your hands dirty. If you like working with them in the second semester, you can do what's called directed study, and in the third and fourth semesters, you can register for thesis credits, 4 credits in one term, 4 credits in the other term, to satisfy this 8 credit requirement. That way, you work with your thesis advisor for a full 4 semesters before you do your thesis. If you can also, you can work less if you want to take courses. You want to focus on courses in the first year and just do your thesis in the second year. That's also fine, but I recommend a minimum of 12 months working on your thesis if you decide to do a thesis, because that will allow you to go into sufficient depth and get really good experience with your advisor. So that's why choose an advisor at least 12 months before the defense date. Form your committee at least 8 months before the defense date. And the defense date will be at the end of your last term. Okay, now thesis and directed study credits. I told you earlier that thesis students can register for a minimum of 8 credits. You have to take at least 8 credits of 8999. And remember, you're taking those instead of your other courses. These are not in addition to. So basically, you've decided instead of taking courses, I'm going to just spend these 8 credits doing research, doing more hands-on work with an advisor. Another thing you can do, if you want to spend even more time working with your advisor, you can do an additional 4 credits of directed study, and the directed study will also count towards your degree. Okay, directed study, you register for ECE 5990. Okay, and you can register for that for up to 4 credits. So if you do that, then you can work with your advisor for a full 3 semesters and actually get academic credit for it. 4 credits in your second semester, and you register for 5990 in that your second semester, get 4 credits. In your third semester, you register for 4 credits of 8999. In your your second semester, you register for 5990 for 4 credits. Third semester, register for 4 credits of 8999, and in your final semester, register for 4 credits of 8999. So that gives you 3 total semesters to work with your advisor, and 12 credits of your degree is done with the thesis. It's just more time. If you don't want to do directed study and you only want to work with your advisor for 2 semesters, then you just register for 8999 and you don't register for directed study. Okay. Directed study is basically just another opportunity to do research with your advisor. Now, if you do Plan A, you are allowed to take directed study. If you do Plan C, if you do the coursework option, generally we have not allowed directed study in the past, because we tell our students, if you're interested in research, just do the thesis option. We may allow a few students to try doing 5990 as Plan C students this semester. It's a pilot we're trying, but again, if you're interested in research, I suggest the thesis option. Thesis requirement completed in the last semester. It should have the length and content comparable to a peer-reviewed journal article. Your thesis has to adhere to graduate school guidelines, and it has to pass a plagiarism check. So these are all standard things. You know, if you're doing any kind of journal article or thesis, these are the standard things that you have to do. The thesis is going to be presented in the last semester, and your defense has to be completed prior to the last day of classes. At least 1 week before the defense, your advisor has to certify the plagiarism check. Within 24 hours, you have to submit that manuscript to the graduate school, and so on. These are all, these are not meant to sound very scary or whatnot. These are just the details of what you have to do when you're submitting your thesis. More information about your thesis can be found here. Okay, so this is the thesis policies. Now, the next part is courses. Okay, so you have to take 4 courses in the major area for the thesis option, and if you're doing the coursework option, you will take 5 courses in the major area, at least 2 at the 7,000 level and above for the Plan C, and at least 1 at the 7,000 level and above for Plan A. So what are major area courses? Major area courses are, if you're an electrical engineer, you take electrical engineering related courses. If you are a computer engineer, then you take computer engineering related courses. So all this information is on this list. So if you click on this link, you'll get to the ECE courses in the major area. All this information is on the same page, by the way. If you just scroll down here, you'll get to this as well. So this table has all of the courses that our department offers, and you'll see that if it's a class for electrical engineering majors, there'll be a dot in the first column. If it's a course suitable for computer engineering majors, there'll be a dot in the second column. A lot of our courses have dots in both columns, which means it's suitable for both degrees. Okay, so if I'm an electrical engineering major, I should choose 5 courses from this table that have a dot in the first column. Okay, now if I'm doing, let's say I'm doing the coursework option, all right, I have to choose 5 courses in this area, including 2 at the 7,000 level or above. So I would then choose 3. Let's say I would choose 3 courses at the 5,000 and 6,000 level, and then I would choose 2 at the 7,000 level or above. Okay, and we have a fairly long list of courses. So the next question is generally like, well, how do I select what classes I'm going to take? For that, you can click on another link here, which talks about our curriculum, and then another link which talks about our course descriptions. Okay, so whenever students ask me which courses should I take, I usually refer them to this link. So this link that says curriculum, it talks about our curriculum, why we have the courses that we have, how they're organized. Okay, generally our courses in our department are organized according to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sub-disciplines. Okay, electrical engineering is a very broad field, so that's why there are so many different sub-disciplines. So what we suggest is that select one of these disciplines, maybe even more than one of these disciplines, and choose courses in those areas. For example, I am in the area of micro and nanoscale sensors, devices, and systems. I mentioned I work on microfluidic devices. So if I was a student and I was interested in this area, what I'd do is I would click here, and this will take me to the section of that page which talks about micro and nanoscale sensors, devices, and systems. You'll see that for each one of these areas, there's a 1-paragraph description about what this area is and what you as a student will learn from this area. Okay, like this area, for example, is a lot about miniaturized sensors and devices using micro and nanofabrication techniques, low power sensors and actuators. This concentration area will help develop a student's expertise and intuition in the techniques used to design, fabricate, and test such devices, and explore the applications of such devices. So if I'm a student interested in this area, I will read this description and make sure that this area that I'm interested in. This is a list of faculty that are involved in this area. So if I want to do a thesis, for example, these are the faculty that I might be interested in going and talking to. And these are the faculty offering courses that I would be interested in taking. Now, there's also a list here that says primary courses and related courses. Primary courses are the ones that are high priority if you want to focus in that area. For example, if you're interested in devices, you take solid-state electronics. For MEMS, those interested in MEMS, 5575, Introduction to Micro and Nano Electromechanical Systems. These are a two-part sequence in smart sensors. One is focused on design, the other one's focused on characterization and fabrication. This is my course, 7590 is Biomedical Microsystems. Fiber and Integrated Optics is for those of you interested in more like sensors and optical sensors. And then we have a new course in micro and nanofabrication. So these are primary courses, and then you can also see there's a bunch of related courses too. Related courses are the ones that are not as directly related to this particular discipline, but they are important. They are also ones that you might consider taking depending on what your other areas of interest are. So let's say my primary area of interest is I want to learn as much about sensors as possible, but I'm also interested in how those sensors are incorporated into printed circuit boards and electronic systems. So maybe I'd also be interested in taking this embedded systems course, or cyber physical systems, which is a new course that started in winter 2017. Okay, so choose from these courses and these primary courses and related courses. There's also for some of the content areas, or some of our concentration areas, sample schedules, what courses you might take in what term. When you're choosing courses, it's important to know what the prerequisites are. Generally, the prerequisites are listed here. Okay, so if you want to take Smart Sensor Technology 2, for example, you have to take Smart Sensor Technology 1 beforehand. Now, as graduate students, the department expects that you know what your capabilities are. Sometimes you'll see that in our course descriptions, let me go to our course descriptions here, especially for graduate classes, you'll see that a class may have prerequisites listed. For example, this one, biomedical instrumentation. This is a course that's cross-listed with BME. You'll see that it has a prerequisite of ECE 3300, BME 5010, or 6550, and BME 5020. That's a lot of prerequisites, right? So the thing is, you as graduate students, you don't necessarily have to have taken all these prerequisites. Okay, if you know that if you look at the descriptions of each one of these courses, And you can tell the professor who's teaching this course that, hey, you know, like I know this stuff already. Could you give me an override to sign up for your course? Okay, that is up to you to decide as a graduate student, as you know what your capabilities are. For our undergraduates, we generally require them to take the prerequisite class. But as graduate students, you are expected to be mature enough to know what your level of knowledge is. Okay, when you get to our 7,000 level courses, you'll notice that all of our 7,000 level courses have some type of prerequisite. Okay, don't let that dissuade you from taking the 7,000 level course. This semester we found that a lot of our students were signing up for the one 7,000 level course that didn't have a prerequisite. I would suggest not doing that unless you're interested in genuinely taking the course. If a course has prerequisites, fine. Just look up what this course is. Find out what is the prerequisite knowledge. For example, medical robotics and systems. It has a prerequisite of 50-20. You can look up what 50-20 is in our course descriptions and say, okay, 50-20 is matrix computation. Many of you have probably taken a course in matrix computation or linear algebra in your undergrad. If you have that knowledge, then this prerequisite is not needed. Okay, just talk to the professor and the professor could give you an override to register for the course. Okay. Now, so this course descriptions page has, it tells you what the prerequisites are, it tells you a description. It also has a link to the syllabus and student evaluations. So if you want to find out more about this course, for example, let's say, what's a popular course? This seems to be a pretty popular course among students, Modeling and Control of Power Electronics. If you click on syllabus, it'll take you to a page where one of the recent syllabi, maybe not the most recent one, but it'll give you a detailed description of each course. Okay. There's just a one-sentence description here and a detailed description in the syllabus. You can also even go to student evaluations if you want to see how did students rate this class in the last few years, who is teaching it, and you know, how did they like the course. That's also important. All right. There's also in this chart are the most recent offerings. Okay, students often ask me, well, when are these courses offered? Very important that our graduate courses are not offered every semester. They are only offered once per year. And some graduate courses are offered less than once per year. Okay, so it's very important that you know when the classes are offered. And our schedule, we try to keep our schedule consistent in the sense that if a class has been offered in the fall term in the past, we'll try to offer it in the fall term again the following year. Sometimes it changes. Okay, the best thing to do is to go to our course descriptions page. All right, again, you go to Master of Science and Course Descriptions. The same page also appears for PhD students under PhD students course descriptions. Okay, it brings you to the same page. This page will actually show you the most recent offerings. So if I was interested in that course I just mentioned, Modeling and Control of Power Electronics, it will tell you that this class was offered in fall 2015, 2016, and 2017. So chances are this course is next year in fall 2018. This course will probably be offered in the fall term again. And Professor Lei Wang teaches it, and it's typically offered from 5:30 to 7:10. Okay, so this is where you can find information about all of our courses. Again, the curriculum page. The curriculum page tells you it helps you select which courses you should take, and if you want to find out what time those courses are offered and more detailed information about each course, go to our graduate course descriptions. Okay, I've said my first mouthful. Now, do we have any questions so far? Feel free to ask. Yeah.
Remind that the timing for classes is just a guide. Just because it was offered at a specific time in the past does not mean it will necessarily be offered at that time in the future due to a variety of different things that go into course scheduling.
Exactly.
As Dr. Basu knows.
What we do is we'll try to offer a course if it's typically offered a certain semester, a certain time. We'll try to do that to maintain some continuity, but often we have to change things. Like, for example, a professor's has a time conflict with that area, or last year, like Wayne State changed the matrix on us, so we had to reschedule all of our courses. Okay, so use it as a guide, and we'll try to give you some information. Usually, the schedule for fall semester, for example, fall 2018 semester, the schedule will be posted sometime in
End of
February. So you'll have time to decide in advance. Okay, now the next question that often comes up is, okay, you have all these areas of concentration. Am I required to select an area of concentration? No, you are not. You can consider this more as a guide to help you select courses. This is not a set of requirements. The requirements are these fixed requirements which are listed in our degree requirements. You must take 5 courses in the major area for Plan C, 4 courses in the major area for Plan A, and these courses are all listed in this table. All right, so let's continue to go with our degree requirements then. We talked about Plan A, thesis, your major area courses, and then electives. Okay, this is also present in Plan C. You have your major area courses, and you also notice that it says electives. So let's talk about electives now. Our department has electives because, as I mentioned, engineering is very broad nowadays, and sometimes the students want to get experience in an area that's a little bit outside their major, so that's where the electives come from. If you are doing Plan A, you can take 2 or more elective courses, including any of the following, for a total of 8 credit hours. You could take any ECE graduate course, and this might include up to 4 credits of directed study. I mentioned directed study earlier. And then up to 8 credits of non-ECE graduate courses from our pre-approved list or transferred from an ABET accredited institution with a grade of B or better. Okay. The same elective rules also apply for Plan C, except in Plan C, you're required to take 3 or more elective courses. Okay. So when you're choosing electives, I'm going to throw out a couple of situations. Let's say that I really like electrical engineering courses, or I want to take all my electives within ECE. Great. You can take any ECE graduate course can count for elective credit. Okay. The only exception here is that if you're doing Plan A, you can take any ECE graduate course, including directed study. If you're doing the Plan C option, you are not allowed. Directed study will not count. Okay, because Plan C is designed for students who just want to take courses and not necessarily research. Now, let's say, well, I think I really like to take this class, but it's not in the ECE department. We have some flexibility to allow you to do that as well. You are allowed to take up to 8 credits, Plan A or Plan C. Regardless of which option you're in, you can take up to 8 credits from our outside the ECE department, as long as they're on this pre-approved list. And I'll get to that list in a second. The other thing is if you started a master's program elsewhere and you're transferring to Wayne State, you can actually transfer some of those courses to Wayne State up to 8 credits, as long as that course was taken at an ABET accredited institution. Okay, ABET is an accreditation board. It's in the U.S. So generally with U.S. universities, if you've started your master's program elsewhere and you could transfer them over here, and you have to have obtained a grade of B or better. All right, so that this case will not apply to most students, I think, but this list may. So let's say I want to take some courses outside the ECE department. This is our list of courses that are allowable outside of ECE. Okay, so the question students often ask is, why do you have this restrictive list of courses? Why can't I just take any course in the university? Well, we want our students to have the flexibility of taking elective credits outside the department, but we also want to maintain the quality and rigor of our program, and we want them to be somewhat related to engineering. We don't want students to take a swimming class and have that count as a master's degree. For undergrad, okay, fine. But for a master's degree, it has to be something closer to engineering. So let's take a look at this list. This list is compiled and updated by our faculty members every year. So any physics course at the 5,000 to 8,000 level, so any biomedical engineering course at the 5,000 to 8,000 level, so 5,000 to 8,000 level is basically at the graduate level. Physics, biomedical engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical, material science and engineering, any one of those courses, except you notice that there are some restrictions. You can't take directed study in other departments. You can't take research or internship credits in other departments. So in the EVE program, there are certain courses that our faculty have selected that do not overlap significantly with our courses that we do in our department. And these are the 4 courses here. In computer science, there's also some overlap with our department, so we have a shorter list of courses that are offered that you're allowed to take outside the department. Introduction to machine learning, for example. In the industrial engineering department, there's one course here that we offer, and then there are a bunch of courses in the mathematics department. Okay, the people who are doing like signal processing, our signal processing faculty came up with this list that would help a student in that area. Yes, question, Adrian.
I just have a course at 10:30, so I was going to walk over to that.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Anyone else have courses at 10:30? Okay, all right, no problem then. You guys can go ahead, and I'm recording this. Hopefully the recording will come out fine. Looks like it's still recording. Yeah. So this recording, I will post it on our department's YouTube or some YouTube thing so that you can see it later. Okay. There's a lot more detail that we're going to be going over. So I know it's kind of a pain it's kind of long, but spend the time and go over it. Especially, Adrian, you've been here, so you kind of know the ropes here a little bit. But those of you who haven't, just go through the video so you kind of know how the department works. Okay. So enjoy your first class.
Thank you.
All right. So going over our non-EC electives. So you can choose electives from this table here. Okay. Now, some other policies for. Okay, so you just have 3 people left. Fine. All right. Let's just go over quickly some of our academic policies. GPA requirements. So you must have an overall 3.0 GPA at the time of graduation. That is a minimum required for graduating in our master's program. Second thing is only courses with a B- or higher will count towards your degree. That means if you get a C in a class, you have 2 options. You can either retake that class. You may allow a single course repeat in your master's program. The department will only permit 1 course to be repeated. So let's say I did really bad in a class, I got a D or I got an F. I might actually want to repeat that course. Why would I want to do that? Because when a course is repeated, the new grade will replace the previous one. So I can basically get rid of that D or F from my record so that my GPA isn't affected.
From your GPA, it will always be on your record.
Correct.
Be on your transcript.
It will be on your transcript, but it won't affect your GPA anymore. The new grade will replace the old one. So that's what I normally suggest to students if for whatever reason, if they fail the course, I suggest repeating the course and whatever the higher grade, if you take it a second time and you get a higher grade, that higher grade will replace the other one. But you can only repeat a course once during your master's program. The second option is you say, well, let's say I got a C in a course, and you know what? I really don't want to take that course again. I realize I'm not interested in it. So the other option then is you can just take a different course in its place, because the course that you got a C in will not count towards your degree, and you have to take another course. So you'll actually end up taking 36 credits instead of 32. So you take a different course and that of your choosing. Okay. So this is often one of the things that the students have, are upset about if they don't do well in a course and they get a C. But this means I have to pay another 4 credits of tuition. Unfortunately, yes. So it's important that keep in mind that you maintain your grades in your courses. Very important. If your GPA falls below a 3.0, then you will be placed on what's called academic probation. If you're on academic probation, that means you have to actually meet with me before registering for classes. You actually have a hold on your account that prevents you from registering for your courses until you meet with me and discuss it. So if your GPA falls below a 3.0 at any point in your program, then you have to increase your GPA to above a 3.0 within 8 credits. Okay, if you want to remain in the program, then you have to restore your GPA to above a 3.0 within 8 credits. Why do we have that policy? Well, if you end up with a very low GPA, let's say you got a 0.0 GPA in your first term, then it's going to be very difficult for you to have a 3.0 GPA at the end of your 4 semesters. And we don't want to waste your money. If it doesn't seem like you're going to end up with a 3.0 GPA by the time you graduate, we don't want you to waste your money doing so. That's why we have this particular policy here.
One thing to keep in mind real quick, if in your first semester you only take 1 class and you get a B- in that class, you will be on academic probation. Because your GPA will be a 2.67.
A 3.0 GPA is a B average. Yes. Is a B average. Okay. So next order of business here is a plan of work. To become a master's candidate, the students must submit a plan of work document before the completion of 12 credit hours. Now, our plan of works are going to be done on Degree Works, which is a new system. So I'll just go to that here. degreeworks.wayne.edu. I think since there's a lot of information to go over, I will have a separate tutorial on how to use DegreeWorks for everyone. Because if I start doing the DegreeWorks stuff right now, I think we'll end up going well over time. So let's see how this goes. Okay. So as I mentioned, the plan of work is basically a document that says these are the classes I plan to take, and then we'll check them over to make sure that they meet degree requirements. And to become a master's candidate, currently if you're just starting the program, you're what's considered a master's applicant. Once you submit your plan of work before the completion of 12 credit hours and you finish the first 12 hours, then you become a master's candidate. Okay, and remember, the plan of work can change. If you make a plan of work right now and later you change your mind and decide you want to take different courses, no problem. You can change your plan of work later. Okay, ethics training, we're just going to skip over that because we're no longer requiring the students to do that right now. Internships. We'll go over internships in a separate slide. If you're an international student, okay, and you want to do an internship with the company, you must register for ECE 6991. All right, the Department of Immigration requires you to do that, or Wayne State requires you to do that because that's the way that the university shows that it's related to your degree program. So you have to be registered for this during the semester of employment. I'll go over that in a second. If you're a domestic student, registration is optional. You don't have to do that. If you do select to do an EC 6991 internship, then the start and end dates of the internship must coincide with the beginning and end of the semester. And Emily will send an email about that at the beginning of each semester. Internship credits can count towards the degree, but they don't count towards the minimum course requirement. So in Plan A, you must take at least 6 courses, lecture courses, and Plan C, you have to take at least 8 lecture courses. So they will not count towards that minimum requirement. And then another requirement here is non-ECE courses and transfer courses. When you graduate, at the time you graduate, at least 24 of your credits must be from ECE courses. If you have followed these degree requirements that I've laid out earlier, then you will have at least 24 credits from ECE. If this talks a little bit about transfer courses, if those of you who may have taken courses at another master's courses at another institution. Special topics courses, you'll see that we offer a lot of special topics courses in our department. Special topics courses are newer areas that don't have a formal course number yet. So for special topics courses, we allow you to take a maximum of 12 credits of special topics courses towards your degree. Special topics courses are denoted 5995 and 7995. Okay. If you look on our list of courses, you'll actually see that there's a bunch of special topics courses listed here. So I try to update this table every semester. For example, right now you'll see there's 3 special topics courses at the 5,000 level and a whole bunch more at the 7,000 level. Okay. So for example, we have these 3 special topics courses here and a whole bunch here. If you end up taking more than 12 credits of special topics courses because you're really interested in a certain area, come and talk to me. We might be able to arrange an exception to the rule so you can take more. Okay, questions? All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Let's say hypothetically I have 24 credits in ECE, and then there's and it's the 8 courses or whatever, and there are 3 electives, and they add up, and they're 3 credit classes, and it's a total of 9 credits. Is that okay? And only 8 of those will count towards the degree.
You can be 32 or over.
Okay.
Yeah.
32 or more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay.
So you have to have it.
I won't be blocked from taking a class if it will bump me over.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
No, you won't be blocked. You can take more than 32
Yeah.
credits.
The issue is if you're below 32.
Okay.
All right. So I think we've gone over the different courses. We've gone over electives. We've gone over basically all the degree requirements. Time limit, master's degree has to be completed within 6 years of enrollment in the program. I don't think that really will apply to many of you. Probably will finish, typically you'll finish in 4 semesters. This is a typical 4-semester plan. A thesis option, you take 2 courses your first semester, maybe 1 course in 5990 in your second semester, 1 course in 8999 for 4 credits in the third semester, and the same in your fourth semester. Plan C, if you're just doing the coursework option, you'll typically just take 2 courses per term, each credit. Each course is 4 credits, so that will get you to 32 credits. Some students who do internship credits, then sometimes they take like 3 credit courses and whatnot, but you have to get to 32 credits. All right, I mentioned all the information on the master's thesis. So all the department policies are here. The graduate school policies are here. I just want to highlight this again. Like the question is, like, should I do a thesis? If you're interested in lab work, research, and more cutting edge stuff, typically the stuff that's taught in courses is several years old. The stuff you do in a lab might be closer to like the cutting edge. So if you're interested in that and you like working in the lab, then perhaps you might be interested in doing a thesis. If you can get some real world experience and possibly a recommendation. And these are the things that you have to do. I've gone over these already, so I won't spend any more time on it. I'll just have this in the PDF document for you to peruse later. The master's program policies, we talked about major area courses, we talked about elective courses, and we also talked about courses outside the department. We talked about all the different academic policies. These are the major ones here, the important ones. Plan of work, minimum grades, minimum GPA, academic probation, course repeat. But we also went over all our academic policies on that webpage, so you can look at them at any point on that link. This is a link to the master's program website. So this is the same one that we were looking at. It has degree requirements, curriculum, course selection guide, course descriptions, and the timeline. The timeline is also on there. And the timeline appears under information for current students. So if I were to go here and select current students, this has the information for current students, and that has this timeline. The timeline, I would say, it's a helpful guide to you because it tells you what you should be doing every semester. For example, these are the things you do before applying. After admission, you guys have been admitted, so you've probably done some of these things already. If not, like plan of work, transfer of credit form. The first semester, you want to register for classes, thesis option, finalize the thesis topic, things like this. This can be your semester by semester guide of all the things that you need to do. And we'll update this as we go, as our requirements change. The last semester, there's a bunch of things that need to be done, especially for the students doing the thesis. All right, so that's your timeline. Forms, ECE forms. If I click on this, it will bring me to this page. Let me Oh no. Okay, let's close PowerPoint there. If you go to resources, student resources, and then you click on forms and information, and you can click on forms for master's students and forms for PhD students. So let's go here. Here you'll find all the forms, electronic versions of a lot of the forms that you see out near our front desk. So this has information about defense policies, plan of work, change of graduate status, transfer of credit forms, directed study forms. These are all forms that you need to fill out. You may need to fill out at some point during your degree. So all the electronic forms can be found here. Okay, sometimes it's a little bit confusing to get to this page. So again, I will say go to our webpage, click student resources, forms and information, and then click one of these links here to get to that list of forms. And a lot of our forms will be posted on a Blackboard as well. All right, let's open up this again. All right. Okay, I mentioned the Blackboard sites. We went over that. We'll be having a similar site, but it'll be hosted on something called Canvas instead of Blackboard. We talked about degree works for electronic plan of work submissions and degree audit. So let's see if we have time to go over more of that. We'll see how much time does everyone have today. You have classes coming up?
Yeah, I'm in the evening, so it's fine.
What's that?
I have class in the evening, so it's fine.
You have class in the evening?
Okay. I mean, I have to go to work today.
Okay.
I mean, no specific time. But...
No specific time. Okay. And no class today. Well, do you all want to spend?
Can I talk about interviews real quick so I can go meet with the student?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that real quick. Let's see. I think I had a slide on CPT.
Yep.
And this includes some of the information that you had. So Emily, you want to maybe, if you don't mind, Emily, maybe if you could come over on this side because we're recording.
Yep.
Recording it as well.
Okay, so CPT, which is curricular practical training, is for our international students. Domestic students would not be involved with this and would not register for ECE 6991. For international students, you have to have completed at least 2 what they designate as full-time semesters. So for those of you starting this semester, it would be this semester, and then if you take classes in spring, summer, you would be eligible to start CPT assignments in the fall. Everything for CPT is based off of OISS regulations and requirements. In fact, right in front of Dr. Basu is a CPT packet.
This is the packet that you'll learn to love or you'll learn to hate.
Exactly.
If you're an international student.
All of this information is in that Blackboard site. I will post an update every semester, mostly with the start and end dates of employment, which I get directly from OISS. I confirm the dates with OISS before I send them out.
OISS, by the way, Office of International Students and Scholars.
I guess as the international students have already
checked
in with them. So I confirm those dates with OISS, so you don't need to worry that my dates are somehow different. The start dates are a framework. They can be within the dates. So as an example, start and end dates for this semester were January 8th is the earliest start date, and May 1st is the last end date of the employment. It can be anywhere within that time frame. So you might start on January 15th or January 22nd. Typically, you wouldn't start much after January 22nd, and your end date can be anywhere from the end of March, somewhere in April, things like that. Unfortunately, part of what is tricky with CPT is there's almost always a gap between end dates for each semester and the start dates for the next semester, because it is tied to an academic class. Typically, you cannot keep working consecutively. Typically, there will be a start and end date, then you'll have to take a week off and start again. It's probably one of the most frustrating things for students about CPT. But those are we are following OISS requirements. So that is just what you have to do. So everything else is going to stay the same every semester. You have to have an offer letter. It has to be on company letterhead. It has to spell out very specific things. It has to say how much you're going to get paid, how many hours a week you're going to work. What are the goals of the internship? What are you going to learn? That is different from the job description. The job description is what do you do? Goals are what are you going to learn at the end? What are you going to walk away with knowing? That can be either in a supplemental letter or a letter from your offer letter. I use that information to fill out my part of the paperwork with all of the paperwork from OISS, which is CPT, also exception to full-time enrollment. There's other forms. It all gets turned into the front desk. I collect all of it and I get it back to you within 2 business days. So plan ahead. And you must submit a report at the end of the term. ECE 6991 is a pass-fail course. You either pass it or you don't. It does not impact your GPA unless you don't pass it. And you only have the first 2 weeks of each semester to turn in your CPT paperwork, because after the add drop date, which is 2 weeks into the semester, you cannot start CPT. So if you are interested in a CPT position, you need to start looking for the position well in advance of when you intend to have the job. So if you want to start in the fall, you should be looking in the summer. And as soon as you get the job, you can turn in the paperwork. You don't have to wait.
So it sounds like it's very difficult, but if you just plan it, if you plan it in advance, you can, it's fine. A lot of our students end up doing internships. The key points that Emily said that just keep in mind: if you want to do an internship, get in touch with the company like a month before. A month, maybe more months,
2
maybe
months.
a month or 2 before the semester starts. Okay. The key thing to tell the company is, this is, again, if you're an international student, Zach, it won't apply to you, right? The start date for the internship should be the beginning of the semester, the first day of classes, ideally, and the end date should be the last day of classes. And you can find that information on our academic calendar. As long as the start and end dates coincide with the beginning and end of the semester, it's fine. The offer letter has to state that. Then Wayne State will approve your CPT. There's a lot of things on the offer letter, but you'll see most of the offer letters are just a half a page. They're really not long.
They're typically
Or
2
1
pages.
page?
1 to 2 pages.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was wrong about that.
But one thing
It's not, as long as your employer has the information on what this job offer letter has to include, they should be fine with it.
Yes. The important thing to note is the start date cannot be, when you are doing your CPT, your start date can't be before you turn in your paperwork. So some people will get an internship today. Their start date can't be January 8th because today is January 9th. You can't have a start date after you've turned in your paperwork. So that's important to know because there's people still turning in CPT paperwork. That's why I have that packet over there. That's an actual CPT paperwork that I had to sign. That start date is January 15th. So you need to allow at least a week between when you're turning in your paperwork to me and your start date, because I have 2 business days and then you have to take it over to OISS for processing as well. So your start date, you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at your start date, that you have to allow time for paperwork processing. I say this very kindly, approving CPT paperwork is not the only thing I am doing during the first 2 weeks of the semester.
It's actually better if you can get your CPT approved even before the semester begins. That's the best thing. Absolutely.
The information for winter 18 CPT, I posted in the Blackboard site in October 19th to be exact. I posted it then, so students had from October 19th till January 19th, which is the deadline to turn in the paperwork. They had 3 months. So I try and get it out there as soon as I can figure out what the start and end dates are. Like I said, I posted all in Blackboard with the updated dates.
We'll help you with the process, as you go.
Yeah. Read the directions.
Remember that international students you have to be full-time students for at least 2 full semesters before you can apply for CPT. Those are immigration rules.
But we can count 4 credits in the spring summer.
We can count 4 credits in the spring summer.
So as long as you take classes in the spring summer, at least a class.
2 full terms you have to be here before you can apply for jobs.
Correct. And you have to still be a student in order to do CPT. You have to be taking at least 1 academic class. So you can't, if you're done with your program, you can't extend it in order to complete and do another semester of CPT. You have to at least be in an academic class that's required for the degree. You can't just keep doing CPT over and over and over again. You have to at least be in a class.
Yeah, so let's also mention like the term limits of CPT. Like CPT is called curricular practical training, as Emily said, so it's designed to give you internship experience. OPT is what's called optical practical training. That's for getting job experience after you graduate. Okay, so typically what you do is you do 2 CPTs.
You can do up to 3 depending on when you've. Typically, unfortunately, students who are starting in the winter typically can only do 2 because of the way it'll work.
So 2 semesters means you can work for 8 months. If you take 3 CPTs, then you mean you're working for about 12 months.
Just keep in mind that you want to talk with OISS about how full-time CPT can impact your time on OPT. So you want to have that conversation with them because it's all about months.
If you work, okay, here's the rule. 11 months is how many months you're allowed to do CPT, correct?
I don't get into that. I let
I'm pretty
OISS
sure
do
it's
that.
11 months. Okay. So the Department of Immigration will allow you to work up to 11 months as internships while you're a student. After you graduate, you're allowed to work for an additional, I think 1 year. And then as long as the rules don't change, you can get that extended for an additional couple years. That's called OPT. That's after you graduate.
Yes, but always double check with OISS about months and things like that.
Yes.
I don't even try to be the expert.
Okay. All right. So we won't spend any more time on that, just because there's other topics to cover, but. CPT emails Emily will send out CPT related emails every semester. Okay, so for those of you who are interested in applying for that. All right, now a couple other things. These are suggestions on how you can enjoy your experience here and make the most of it. I would say the first suggestion I would give you is to get involved. So getting involved means you can join some of the student organizations. Get involved in the graduate community, and just look around for, we have, if you look on any of our boards, there's a tons of different events going on in the area. And the College of Engineering has a webpage where they actually list events. If you just Google Wayne State College of Engineering events, workshops and events. So this is one place you can see things that are going on. There's also the university events calendar. So if you click through here, you can see different workshops and so on for students. Those workshops are often good. This is on the resume review and so on, the career fair. So there's all sorts of things that you can, like workshops and things that you can go to. Student orgs. So this PDF document has a link to the IEEE Wayne State chapter, the Wayne State EcoCar. So IEEE, as you know, is for anything related to electrical engineering. It's our student org. There's a lot of undergraduates in IEEE, and just recently we started getting more graduate students involved last year, and I would highly encourage you guys to build the graduate student community within our IEEE organization. We have a great faculty advisor, Professor Knuckleby, who's been moving things along pretty well. EcoCar, if you're interested in automotive stuff, There's Wayne State's EcoCar program has done quite well, and it's run by Professor Jerry Koo. There's a link to here if you want to learn about what EcoCar is and who the team is. And they've done some pretty cool stuff recently. They met the CEO of GM, for example. They basically build a car. It's a competition. It's a multi-university competition that happens every year. This was some of the workshops that IEEE had. This is a picture of Detroit from a drone. We have a drone team called Detroit Aerial Innovations. You can click on that. There's a team dedicated to drones, period. And they have a great website, and they do some very cool work. The graduate exhibition is something, if you're getting involved in research, whether you're doing a thesis or maybe if you're just even volunteering, there's a lot of like graduate and postdoctoral. There's a graduate postdoctoral research symposium, and you can do a 3-minute thesis competition where you compete, like you describe your thesis in 3 minutes, and there's awards for the best descriptions. In addition to that, the graduate school also has, I'm going to jump down here, they have the professional development series. Okay, so these are also a set of seminars with something called micro-credentialing. This is something the graduate school started recently, and what's been found by Google and Facebook and a lot of other companies is that even more important than your grades and what thesis you did or what school you went to or what like the number you got on your GRE, things like that, the things that are actually predictors of career success are actually some soft skills. Meaning, like, how well do you work with people? How well can you present your ideas? How well can you encourage other people, work in teams? How well can you, what are your interpersonal skills and things like that? Okay, so the graduate school has a professional development series that helps develop some of these soft skills, which are quite important. For example, a poster design and presentation, academic job talks. This is designed for PhD students. Visual communication and science, empathy and perspective taking. So when you take these courses, you actually get little badges. This is like kind of like a micro-credentialing program that it's something that you can show that you've taken some background in these areas. So there's a link to that there. On the same page, there's also information about the graduate exhibition. NIH Best is a program for setting you up with internships. And the final thing here is a list of Wayne State student organizations. Now, I want to warn you beforehand that this list is, there's a lot of undergraduate groups here, but there's also graduate student groups too. And there's tons of groups that are agnostic, meaning like they are oriented not around graduate or undergraduate students, but other things as well. For example, like African American Student Association, Muslim Student Association, there's some fraternities on campus and so on. You can see there's tons of student organizations on campus and that you can look for if you're interested in whatever your interests may be. All right, now getting around Detroit. For those of you who are new here, you won't notice this, but for those of you who've been around the Detroit area for several years or you've grown up here, you'll see that Detroit's changed a lot in the past 5 years. I've lived here since I was young, and this place I've never seen Detroit change so quickly as it has in the last 5 years. So there's a lot of different events going on, and there's better ways to get around now. I just want to quickly mention, if you need to get around between the main campus and the medical campus, there's a campus shuttle, and there's also a GPS tracking app which will tell you exactly where that campus shuttle is. We are in the Midtown area of Detroit. If you want to get to the downtown area, the Midtown is where the Wayne State and the museums are. Downtown is where a lot of the restaurants and other things are, like the Christmas tree, for example, area, the riverfront area. There's a new Q line that just opened up this year. It's a light rail train that goes back and forth between the two. There's an app for that as well. Smart Bus, this is something that just started this month, like last week, literally. There's a daily bus service from Detroit to the airport, if any of you need to go back and forth between the airport and also all the northern suburbs like Troy, Royal Oak, and Birmingham, and so on. That's a smart bus. The Detroit Connector, if any of you want to visit University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, or you want to attend a seminar there, there's a low-cost daily bus that goes back and forth between Ann Arbor. MOGO is this thing you see in the bottom right corner. It's a bike share. You'll see it around campus. Probably not that active in the winter, but it's very active in the summer. Uses a smartphone app. You can rent a bike for a day for I think like $8, and you can take it around. They have these bike share places all around Detroit, so you can leave your bike in one place, grab the next one, and go on. Uber and Lyft, those are smartphone apps for you can get a low cost. Someone will pick you up and drop you off, and you can pay through the app. Zipcar's car rental by the hour. Students who don't have a car and need to do groceries, you can go to Zipcar, and we have Zipcars on campus. You can rent the cars by the hour, go do your grocery shopping, and then return the car afterwards. If you need longer term rentals, there's Enterprise Rent-A-Car if you want to go somewhere for the weekend, for example. The Detroit City Bus and Smart Bus are related. Detroit City Bus is mainly for local travel. Megabus is, you can get tickets from $1 to $20 to go to Ann Arbor and Chicago and other places in the Midwest area. Really good way to go visit other cities. Greyhound is bus service anywhere to the U.S. We have a Greyhound terminal about a mile from here. Amtrak is a train service, again 1 mile from here. And students who are doing internships that need like low-cost car rentals, I know a few folks who do that. So you can contact me about that. This is just the new shuttle that started last week. It goes down between downtown and the airport if anyone needs to get back and forth between there. Things to do in Detroit. Detroit Institute of Arts, they have free events. For example, every Friday they have a free music event happening. If you live in Washtenaw, Wayne, or Oakland counties, so if you can get in for free. And I believe that Detroit would be in Wayne County, right? So if you show a Wayne County ID, then you can get into the DIA for free. The film theater shows international arts and movies. It's attached to the DIA. It's just very close to Wayne State, within like a 10-minute walk from here, 5-minute walk actually. Midtown Detroit is, if you click on this link, there's just a bunch of things that are happening in the Midtown area. We have a bunch of festivals that happen throughout the year. Belle Isle is an island that's along the Detroit River for hiking and biking. It's improved quite a bit in the last year. It's been taken over by the state. There's a lot of places like around it, parks on campus and outside of campus. Beacon Park is a park that in the summer it offers a night market and sports and yoga. Eastern Market, it runs every Saturday. There's a farmer's market there. Campus Martius, they have the Christmas tree and ice skating in the winter, and then music and volleyball in the summer. It's right in the middle of downtown. The Detroit River Walk is a beautiful place to go if you want to walk in front of the river. You'll see people jogging there. There's a nature preserve there. It's very active in the summer, a little bit less in the winter, but still very beautiful. If you want to see icebergs floating down in the Detroit River, you can see that in February. And the New Center Park is another park in Detroit that offers like free outdoor movies on Mondays and Wednesdays in the summer. That's close to the Henry Ford Hospital up in about a mile north from here. And you can take the Q line there. Events in Detroit. So if you're interested in sports, Detroit Tigers, Pistons, and Red Wings, there's a brand new stadium that opened up just 3 months ago. It's a Little Caesars Arena, a really cool place to go. If you're interested in biking, there's a ton of biking, group biking that happens in Detroit, especially in the summer. Running, there's the International Marathon and the Turkey Trot that happens in October and December. Holiday events, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade that happens in November, Noel Night in December. And then the art festival is really mainly in the summer. There's an International Jazz Festival, the Michigan State Fair, Arts Beats and Eats, Electricity. This all stuff happens in the summer and early fall. The thing that I would suggest you go to that's happening this month is the North American International Auto Show. It is the biggest auto show in the world, and especially if you're interested in automotive, I know that you mentioned, go check it out. It's really awesome. You will see every single car manufacturer will be there showing off their latest and greatest concept cars and things like that. It costs, I believe, about $14 to go, but it's worth it. You can stay all day, and even if you stay all day, you may not even see everything. It's really wonderful. Okay, and then in terms of time then, it is now 11 o'clock. What we can do is, I'll go over the context right now. And do you all have time? Do you want to stay a little bit longer for going over degree works, or would you rather? You need to get back to the office, Zach. Okay. How about two of you? Would you like to stay and go over degree works and how to do plans of work on degree works?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we can do that then. Then Zach, no problem. We'll just end with this. These are contexts. So, if you have anything related to academic questions, my office hours are 3:30 to 5 Tuesdays and Thursdays. Email me first, and I can give you an appointment slot, usually like a 15-minute slot, 20-minute slot. And because students with the appointments will be given the first priority. If you have admissions-related questions, which you already admitted, so you don't, but other questions related to the college level.
All sorts of different stuff that might come up. Everybody has unique concerns. If you're not sure why you have a hold on your account, and it might be related to material you need to submit along with admission, that type of thing. That's the kind of thing that you can contact me for.
So if you have like academic holds, you can contact Eric about that. Things related to the college. If you have specific questions about overrides, CPT, and graduation application, Emily will handle those. She is our undergraduate advisor, but she also handles the paperwork for some of these things. And then if you need grades for directed study, you can contact our department chair. If you have department-related issues, you can also feel free to contact him about that. So these are the people that you can go to. You have a lot of links on the website. I will post the PDF of this online on Blackboard or Canvas, and then possibly on our website as well, so you can have this orientation with you. And we'll post the video on YouTube as well. So before you go, Zach, do you have any questions you'd like to go over? Do you guys have questions? Remind me your name again? Asmin.
Yeah.
Any questions? And you are?
I have some trouble in registering classes because some of these classes are full of students. I cannot register 2 classes.
Okay.
So I want to find an advisor and override it.
Okay. So the question is, what do you do when classes are full? So as the advisor, I cannot give you an override for the course. The override has to come from the faculty member. So you can go to the faculty member and ask them, which course is it that is full that you're trying to get into?
I have no idea.
What is the name of the course that you want to take?
I don't know.
So if you identify some courses that you wanted to take and they're full, you can contact the instructor of that course.
Sometimes the instructor will be able to say, okay, I'll give you an override.
Correct, yeah. So identify those courses, and then you can contact that faculty member, that instructor, and they can provide you email permission that, yes, we still have room for you in that course. Sometimes they may say no, but often they can accommodate another student. And with that emailed permission from that instructor, you would want to contact Emily. Would probably be the direct contact, not to you, right?
Yeah.
And Emily would be able to possibly allow you to register for a full course, but it has to have the permission and email from the instructor of that course, and then forward that to Emily.
Exactly. The instructor, if the instructor is able to give you an override, if he's willing to take a larger number of students in the course, the instructor can give you an override, and that's a form that you have to fill out, override form, and that form can be submitted to Emily Reitz, who just spoke, and then she'll modify your record in the system so that you can register. You can also do it over email. If the professor gives you permission to register for the class, the professor can email Emily.
Dr. Basu, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Zach. And then you can get the override process that way as well. In some cases, the professor will actually say, you know what, we don't give overrides for this course, and that could be because already there's too many students in the course, or the course requires like lab benches or something like that. It's like specific resources that we don't have enough resources for accommodating extra students. In that case, the best thing to do is just to wait for next time the course is offered, next year. Have a backup class, have some backup classes in your plan. Okay, so let's go over a couple other things. So the plan of work is on DegreeWorks. We'll touch on that in a second. The PhD program, there's a few slides about the PhD program here. Since there are no students here at the moment doing the PhD program who are here at the orientation, I'll just mention that the information is here on the slides, and the link to the PhD program is also here online. Go to electrical and computer engineering, degree programs, PhD, and then degree requirements, curriculum, course descriptions, and then information for current students, including a list of milestones, yearly milestones that you want to complete as a PhD student. All right. Just really quickly, I want to mention, just because of since we're recording this, the important thing for a PhD student is passing the preliminary exam and the prospectus exam. The preliminary exam is taken in the first, second or third semester, and it's basically a long written exam that has two parts to it that you have to pass both parts in order to complete that requirement for the PhD. You have to take it within the first 2 semesters. You have 2 chances to pass it, and failure to take the exam in the second semester is 1 failed attempt. Failure to take the exam in the third semester is a 2nd failed attempt. So you have to take the exam in the 2nd and 3rd semesters. If you don't pass it the 2nd semester, you can take it again in the 3rd semester. So you have 2 chances to pass the exam. There's different exams for CE versus EE students, and they have an oral and written part, each of which are 90 minutes. After you finish the preliminary exam, you can advance to candidacy. And in candidacy, about a year or 2 before you complete your dissertation defense, you have to do a prospectus. This is where you present the research that you're going to do to your committee, and your committee decides if this is a suitable research project or not. And the prospectus has a written part where you basically write up a portion of your thesis, and you say, this is what the research that I intend to do. And then the oral part, which is you present that to the committee, and your committee decides whether that project is suitable or not. And then the final defense happens after that. So all this information is actually found here under degree requirements. It has a step-by-step process that all PhD students need to go through. All right, now this is some reporting requirements. We won't go over that right now. Some links for PhD students. All right, now funding. Since most of the students end up asking, if master's and PhD students ask about funding. These are the different types of funding that are available on campus. Student assistance, there's a lot of part-time jobs that you can get around campus, like working for departments or working at the cafeteria or other places. Those student assistant positions are basically where you're getting paid hourly for work, for part-time work. Sometimes you can get student assistant positions in the lab too, where you work for a professor helping them with research. Graduate teaching assistantships offer full tuition support and full stipend support. So you'll get a monthly stipend in addition to covering your entire tuition. This is when you're helping to teach a class, a GTA, graduate teaching assistant. This is normally for PhD students. Master students don't receive GTAs because the PhD students are here longer, so we have more of a priority to help bring them some support for their degree program. GRAs is where you're a research assistant, you're working with the faculty in a lab. The GRA also covers full tuition and stipend. And the stipend is usually like about $20,000, $22,000 per year. It covers your tuition as well. GRAs is if a faculty has a research grant from the National Science Foundation or some other agency, and they want to hire you as a student to work in their research lab. These positions often, I would also say, generally go to PhD students, but sometimes master's students get them as well. There's also, you can get internships working with companies. So international students can work up to 20 hours per week during the fall and winter terms, and you can work longer in the summer terms, in your vacation semesters. And don't forget to get your work authorization from OISS before doing an internship with a company. Okay, so when you do these internships, international students have to register for 6991. Domestic students, well, they don't have to register for that. They can just do the internships. These are the scholarships. So these are the 5 major scholarships. And I would say of those, the ones that are relevant to master students are the first 2 or 3. And the ones that are more relevant to PhD students would be the Graduate Professional Scholarship. And are you part of a 2+3 program?
Yes.
You're part of a 2+3 program? Okay. So some international students, which university are you from?
Hubei University of Automobile Technology.
Hubei?
Yes.
Okay. So in your case, you're actually eligible for the Dean's Merit Scholarship as well. So we'll get to that in just a second. First of all, for the master's students that are here, the MS Retention and the MS Completion Scholarships are the scholarships that most students end up applying for at some point. They are quite competitive because we have a lot of master's students. It covers 4 credits of tuition at the Wayne State in-state rate. So you know Wayne State has an out-of-state tuition rate and an in-state tuition rate. So this covers 4 credits of tuition at the in-state rate, which equates to, I think, about $3,000, maybe $4,000. The students eligible for this are students who have more than 12 credits left to complete. So students who are towards the beginning of their program can apply for the MS Retention Scholarship. And the deadline is October for the fall term, and then March for the winter term. So if you apply in the fall term, then the scholarship gets applied to your account in the winter term, if you are selected. Again, I mentioned that the selection process is fairly competitive, but we have several students from our department every term who get selected for these scholarships. So end of October, for example, the students who applied at the end of October and were selected, they got a scholarship for this winter term. If you apply this term, so if you apply sometime in March, the deadline will be sometime in March, so mark that on your calendar. If you get selected, then your scholarship will be applied in the following term, the fall term, in fall 2018. Okay. Now, the MS Completion Scholarship is similar, except it's for students who have less than 12 credits to complete. So, and it's typically awarded in the graduating semester. So the last semester that you are here is typically when you'd receive a completion scholarship. The deadline is the same, and the amount is typically the same, around $3,000 to $4,000. But you want to apply for the completion one if you're towards the end of your degree, the retention if you're towards the beginning of your degree. The A-grade scholarship you can apply for if you are in the A-grade program. The A-grade is a program is for people who have done their undergraduate at Wayne State. They obtain very high GPAs. And because of that, they get to double count classes between their undergraduate and graduate degree. So for students in the A-grade program, there's an A-grade scholarship, same amount, same deadlines, but you must be in the A-grade program to be eligible for that. The Graduate Professional Scholarship, these come very few and far between, but it gives you, it's a very large amount. It gives you 2 full terms of tuition at the in-state rate, which can be as much as a total of equivalent of like almost $15,000, up to 20 credits. We had 1 student in our department that got it last year. MS and PhD students are eligible for this. This one's tough to get, I will say. The deadline for it is May 1st. But the student who got it was quite thrilled because he had this covered up to 20 credits. The Dean's Merit Scholarship, this is for you. If you're from one of the partner institutions, so let me just click on this because all the information on master scholarships are here. Let's just type in Wayne State Master's Scholarships. There's some information here about that. There's the URL. this Dean's Merit Scholarship. If you are part of a 3+2 program from the list of universities that Wayne State has specific agreements with, there's, you said Hubei University? So your university appears on this list. So you are part of the 3+2 program. So you are eligible to apply for the Dean's Merit Scholarship. And the Dean's Merit Scholarship can cover up to $3,000 per semester towards their studies. So all the information on master's scholarships appear on this page, including eligibility, how to apply, when the application deadline is, even a link to the application form. A lot of these application forms are done online. So these are the different scholarships that are available, and they are typically updated once a year by the graduate school. And there's a list of scholarship recipients in the 2017 year. This website also has a link to other scholarships as well. There's professional travel awards, external funding, the summer dissertation award. So look through that for more funding information. And I mentioned that here. You know, there's a thesis and dissertation support, travel grant if you go to a conference, Rumble Fellowship covers a year. It's primarily for PhD students. The scholarships specifically for international students at this website, and some more links to look for other financial aid resources. So if you're looking for funding, these are the places that you can start to look at. Now, next topic is finding jobs and internships. So the question that students ask is this. Yes. Oh, please come on in. Yeah, you're here for the orientation. Yeah, come on in. So the next thing is, especially for, well, international and domestic students, everyone, the main question I get is after classes is, how do I find a job? Wayne State has an Engineering Career Resource Center, ECRC, and this is a link to their website. Click on that. The ECRC is designed to help students get jobs and begin their careers. And one of the big things that ECRC has is something called Handshake. Handshake is a virtual job board. So all the companies, especially companies in the local Detroit area that often tend to hire Wayne State graduates, hire students through Handshake. So it's imperative, very important, that if you want to work especially in the local area, in the automotive industry, and outside too, throughout Michigan in different industries, but especially in this Southeast Michigan area, there's a lot of connections through this thing. And so you should get yourself registered in this Handshake system. It's a virtual job board. You can create a profile. Basically, you can upload your resume here. You can log in with your Wayne State ID, upload your resume, complete your profile, and then you can make your profile visible. When employers come to Wayne State and they ask us, like, who are your graduating students that we'd like to hire, they can search through this resume and database. And students have had more luck through Handshake than with just cold calling companies, like through other job sites. Now, that's not to say that other job sites don't work. In fact, we also encourage students to look through LinkedIn, Indeed. There's also a website called dice.com, Monster. These are all like job boards that help you find jobs. But this is Wayne State's resource for finding jobs. The students, the job market, it's always up and down. Sometimes tons of companies are hiring, sometimes very few companies are hiring. So there is a lot of ups and downs with that. My advice for students is to be persistent. That is the most important thing. Be persistent with jobs. Apply to jobs frequently. International students cannot get jobs in the first 2 years. You have to be at least 2 semesters. You have to be here at least 2 semesters before you can apply for jobs. Once that time is up, you can aggressively apply for jobs. Look at many different companies. There are resume workshops at Wayne State to help you tailor and polish up your resume, and so on. You want to focus on getting excellent grades. Focus on learning skills that the employers are looking for right now. Things like in the automotive industry, a lot of companies are looking for like embedded systems, sensors, people with image processing background, people with controls background. A lot of the areas that our department teaches. So getting experience in the areas, maybe working with people, getting letters of recommendation, those are the things that can help you in getting jobs. These are the rules for international students. At least 2 semesters before you can apply for internships, you must register for 6991 and follow the CPT rules that Emily went over. After you graduate, you're eligible for up to 2 years of OPT, to work for a company for 2 years. And then the company, if the company really likes you, they can sponsor an H-1B visa, and then that leads to permanent residency. It has become tougher to do that at least this past year, but a lot of companies will still do that if they have like excellent. If you do an excellent job for the company, then a lot of companies do sponsor H-1Bs. Engineering career fair. This is important. You go to this, click on this link. I highly encourage all students to go to the career fair. Whether you're applying for an internship or not, go to the career fair and see, submit your resume, polish up your resume beforehand, and meet the companies that come to this career fair. We have 2 career fairs every year. The largest one is in the fall term, so right now you missed that one. But there's another a career fair in the winter term as well, and the information is generally posted to this website. Monday, January 22nd is the career fair, so it's coming up in just less than 2 weeks. It's in the Wayne State Student Center ballroom, and definitely you want to register yourself on Handshake before going to the career fair. And just you'll go to information workshops, you can do mock interviews, you'll get practice interviewing with companies, you can talk to recruiters, see what kind of companies recruit from Wayne State. Okay, this is probably the most important thing, the career fair. Monday, January 22nd, mark your calendars, make it a point to be there, and make sure you've registered and put your resume into the system beforehand. Again, students who are international students who you may not be able to get a job now, but at least you can learn about how that process works. We went over CPT, we went over getting involved in the Graduate Professional Development Series. So this is all the information I had on that. I want to quickly, the last part here is I want to spend a little bit of time on DegreeWorks. If you all have time, which it sounded like you did, we can spend maybe 15 minutes on that. DegreeWorks is the system that we use for plan of work and degree audits. For those of you who weren't here before, what is your name? Yours, sorry. Dhananjay. Okay. Since you weren't here earlier, plan of work is where you tell the department that these are the courses that I plan to take and we'll check and make sure that they meet degree requirements. So we used to do that in a paper form that looks something like this, but now we're going to be doing it electronically starting this year. So if we click on DegreeWorks, first of all, I want to say that there's instructions on how to use DegreeWorks here at this link, okay? Including information on interpreting your degree worksheet, the symbols on the degree worksheet, using the academic plan and the what if feature. This is the important one. The academic plan, look through this document here, and this tells you exactly how to create an academic plan. Okay, so we can go through this one quickly, and I can show you how to do that. I need if anyone would like to volunteer, if I can look up your name. So I want to show you all how to create an academic work plan and submit it, because all students are required to submit a plan of work before you complete 12 credit hours. So you don't have to do it just now, since you're new students, you don't have any credit hours yet. But I would say by the end of the first semester, just submit it by the end of the first semester. Because if you don't, then if you get to 12 credits and you have not submitted your plan of work, then an academic hold will be placed on your account. It's very important that you do that. So let's go to degreeworks.wayne.edu. Yep. Okay. Now, Azim, right? Azmin.
Yeah.
Okay, Azmin has been kind enough to let us use him as a guinea pig for doing the DegreeWorks. So If you don't mind, if you can give, we will put in your access ID here. And what is your access ID? GM 7985. Okay, great. All right, your interface will look a little bit different. So I'm just going to click on this here. So when you log into DegreeWorks, you will see something that looks like this. Okay. So at the top it will say your student ID, access ID, and name, your major, and so on. And this says that you're at applicant master's. That's your status right now. Once you submit your plan of work and get it approved, you'll be considered a master's candidate. So the thing you want to do here is you'll start off in the student view, and you'll be able to see all this. Now this is a computerized system. All of our degree requirements that I showed you here. Let me close all these extra windows. All of our degree requirements, which I showed you under Master of Science, here, it's been coded into the DegreeWorks system. Okay.
Is it like a real time?
Is it real time?
Or you have to submit it, then it'll tell you after 2-3 days that...
No, it's real time.
Real time.
Yeah, it'll tell you real time whether you meet degree requirements or not. So let's go through this right now. So Asmin, you are an electrical engineering major. So all of our electrical engineering requirements are coded into the system. And this will tell you which degree requirements you've met and which ones you have not met yet. So your GPA is not yet established. So let's look through this thing. It says you're 15% of the way through your degree. Okay, you haven't taken any, well, you've registered for a class, so that's why it's giving you this thing. When it gets to 100%, that means you're done. It's a little bit arbitrary how they assign these percentages, so just keep that in mind here. So this one says specific requirements. You're doing a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. You need to complete a total of 32 credits. You currently have 8 because, Asmin, you've registered for 8 credits this term, and you have 24 more to go. This one says, wherever you have a checkbox like this, and that checkbox is empty, that means that you have not yet met that requirement. So let's just jump down here for a second and look at the legend. If you have an empty box, that means you have not met that requirement yet. If you have a green check mark through the box, that means that requirement is complete. And a single tilde like this means that it's complete except for the classes that in progress, means the classes that you're currently taking. And nearly complete, you won't see this too often, but this is a case where you can just come see me or ask me about this. If it says T, that means it says a transfer class is transferred from another institution. This means a range of courses. We'll talk about that in a second. And at means any course number. We'll also talk about that in a second. So let's start from the top here. So your GPA has not yet been established. Your required GPA is 3.0, so that requirement has not been met yet. Major requirements still needed. C major in electrical engineering, MSEE section. And this is the MSEE section. So let's look through that. That one obviously has not been met yet. So as I said, our degree requirements that are listed here on our website, the same degree requirements are coded into DegreeWorks here. Let me see if I can make this full screen so we can see this better. Okay, so unmet conditions, 24 credits still required. You have 8, you still need 16 more ECE credits. It's saying 16 because remember, you can take up to 8 credits outside the department if you so choose. So as I mentioned, so if you're in Plan C, right, Asmin?
Yeah. Okay,
so Asmin is in Plan C. So the requirements are 5 courses in the major area, including at least 2 at the 7,000 level or above. That's the major area requirement. And the elective requirement is 3 or more elective courses, including any of the following. So this is the same information that appears on our website here. Okay, maybe slightly different wording, but the same policy there. So these are the two requirements. You have your major area courses and then your elective courses. So this can be a little bit confusing to look at, but trust me when I tell you that when it says the major area courses, those courses are basically the ones that are listed in this table. Okay, so you're an electrical engineering major, so that means you have to select 5 from the electrical engineering column, and at least 2 have to be at the 7,000 level or above. So this one actually lists as an electrical engineering major which courses you have to take. So it says here 3 classes in ECE in this entire list here. Okay, and then additionally 2 courses, a minimum of 2 courses from this list. And you'll notice that this list are all the courses at the 7,000 level or above. So these are the requirements here. Now, this column here, this portion here, shows you which of these requirements that you've currently made progress on. So Asmin is registered for ECE 5620 this term and 5650. Both of those courses are eligible for electrical engineers. So you've seen them on our table. And so it says, okay, degree work says, okay, these courses meet the requirements for the major area, and so these will count towards your degree. That's why it says 15%. You're well on your way. INPR means in process. That means you are currently taking those classes, and this semester says which semester you're taking them in, winter 2018. Okay, this one says 4 credits. Okay, now as you go through and you finish the courses that you complete, it will actually tell you what, the grade that you got in that course. Okay, so right now, since Asmin just began the program, the grades for previous courses are no longer not here yet. Okay, so this table shows the courses that are in progress. So Asmin has not taken any of his elective requirements yet, but just so you know, like the electives can be, it has to be 12 credits, and it can be ECE courses, it can be physics courses, the PHY is physics, BME, ME, ChemE, MSE, EVE is electric vehicle, computer science. And you can see that our list of elective courses that we have on our website here, the specific list of non-ECE electives which you are allowed to take, are all listed here. Remember, in your electives, you don't have to take courses outside the department. If you want to take all your courses in the department, great. All the ECE courses are also listed here. Okay, notice that the ones that do not count as elective credit are these internship and directed study type courses. All right, any questions so far?
So let's say, like, if I register something for some course which is not at all related, like doesn't count. So how is degree works? Is it going to stop me from registering for that course, or
okay, yeah,
send me an error?
Okay, good question. So Asmin asked if you register for a course that is not part of, that will not meet your degree requirements, you'll still be allowed to register for it, but DegreeWorks will show you that it doesn't. Okay. It will not count towards your degree.
Send me a notification, or I will go and check.
You should go and check. Yeah, anytime you need to see if your course is meeting degree requirements or not, you go to DegreeWorks and it will do that. So now the main thing is, how do we create a plan of work and get it approved? So you want to go here, click on plans. So academic plan. All right, so I'm going to walk you through this. So you're going to, when you log into DegreeWorks, you'll start off in the worksheet view. This is the one we were looking at earlier. And you go here and you click on plans, and you'll get to the academic plan view. Would you like to create a plan based on a template, or would you like to start from scratch? So just click a blank plan here. All right, and throughout your studies, you may actually end up submitting multiple plans of work. Let's say Asmin decided that he submitted a plan of work and I approved it, but then later he decided he wanted to take a different course. So you can make changes to the plan of work. So in order to accommodate that, what we'll do is we'll put it, every time you create a plan of work, put a date on there. So Asmin Matab, MS plan of work. So we're just going to put that in the description, plan of work. And then we can put the date. Today's date is 1/9/2017. All right, and then what we'll do, this is the name of the plan of work. The most important thing here is the date. And then what we can do is we can just add terms, okay? A typical plan of work will have 4 terms. Osman, you probably plan to be here like 4 semesters, right? So let's say, sorry, not notes. We want to add a term here. So let's first start by adding the current term. So we're in the winter 2018 term. All right. Now, there's 2 ways you can add courses to a specific term. So what are the courses you're taking this term?
Embedded and computer networks.
Computer networks. So what computer networks, what is?
And 5650.
56, okay, let's start with 5650. So you can add a course by clicking here, add a requirement, and add a course. So you can just type in the name of the course, ECE 5650.
Yeah.
Okay. ECE, it'll give you a list here. 5650. Computer networks and programming. 4 credits. Okay. Another way you can do it is go over on the right, click on major in electrical engineering, and you can actually drag over courses here. So what was the second course you're taking?
5620.
5620. Or is it 5260?
5620.
5620 is not showing up here.
Embedded.
Let's, okay, we may need to. ECE 5620, here we go. I'm not sure why it's not appearing here. It's not appearing under still needed because you've already signed up for that course.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we put your 5620 here. So you're done with your winter 2018 term. Now you have to plan all your 32 credits. So let's add another term here. So do you plan to take courses in the spring-summer term? Okay.
Fall.
Okay. Oh wait, actually, if you come in the winter term, if you're entering in the winter term, you will actually be required to take spring-summer courses. Because the first 2 terms you're at Wayne State, you have to take classes both semesters. As an international student, you have to take classes both for the first 2 semesters.
So I cannot take the summer off?
And not if you start in the winter term. If for students who start in the fall term, yes, you may take the summer off. But for students who start in the winter term, you actually have to do 2 semesters at least before. So we can select a class for you in the spring-summer term. And one of the courses that we offer in the spring-summer term is a cooperative and connected vehicles course. So that course is relevant to like autonomous vehicles and things like that. So let's just say we put 5995 as a special topics course for the spring-summer term. So now you're at 3 courses. You need 5 more. So let's add. Do you plan to take 2 courses in the summer or 1? Just 1. Okay. All right. So then we can add in the fall term, fall 2018, and then we can also add the winter 2019 term. We'll add courses to it later. Winter 2019. All right. So. Osman, let's see. So we have 3 courses here. How about I just add some? Do you want to also indicate what other courses you're interested in taking, or do you want me to just add some arbitrary courses for now?
Maybe control, but I'm not sure about the numbers.
Okay, the course numbers we can look up here.
Yeah, we just add anything. It doesn't matter for now.
Yeah, so let's say control systems 2 5470. One thing we're not doing here is we're not checking which classes are offered which terms. We're just going to do this quickly. So you can just drag these courses over here, 5470, let's say Introduction to MEMS. You can add this one to the fall term. So now we're at 1, 2, 3 courses, 4, 5 courses. We need 3 more. And let's say the last semester you're going to just go crazy and take 3 courses. Usually we recommend taking 2 classes per term. Once in a while students will take 3 courses per term, but we don't always recommend it because it can be, it can be pretty busy. All right, so let's say you need your 2 7,000 level courses, so
maybe telematics.
Telematics, okay, 7730. And again, you do have to make sure that the course is offered in the term you select. You need another 7,000 level class.
You can choose any of no progress.
All right, so let's say smart sensor technology. Oh, actually, this is, I know for sure that this is only offered in the winter term, or in the summer term. So we'll change that to 6570, and let's pick another class. Let's say advanced digital signal processing. $76.80. All right, so now it looks like we have completed our 8 courses and 32 credits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have at least 2 at the 7,000 level or above. So if we think we have a plan of work that looks reasonable, click Save. Save it, and now you can do Audit. So you can go to the Audit view. There's 2 ways you can do this. Either you can click Audit here, or you can go to the Audit view here. So let's click Audit down here. And this will bring up a degree audit. All right, so everything is good here because it's showing that according to Osman's plan of work, he will complete all the major degree requirements. So there's a check mark, there's a tilde next to this box, and remember that the tilde means that complete except for classes in progress. That means that if you complete this plan of work, then you will graduate. That's what that tilde means. That's what you want. Now let's do this. Let's take out one of these 7,000 level courses just to show you what it'll look like. If I take out that course and I do a degree audit, then my audit will show that I have not met the major requirements and still need it. It'll actually tell me what I need. So this degree, I've met my elective requirement, but I have not met this requirement. Why? Because it said I still have to take an additional 1 class, a 7,000 level class. So it will tell you which degree requirements is not met. If you have any questions about it, you can always ask me or come to my office hours. So let's put that 7,000 level class back on the schedule. I forgot which class that we just took off, but let's put another 7,000 level class here. Let's say there's a special topics course, a 7,000 level special topics course that you decide you'd like to take. I do the degree audit again, and now I can see that everything's in blue. Blue is good. That means this particular plan of work meets degree requirements. And it also shows degree progress at 75%. That means that that you have all the courses in here, you just haven't taken them yet. Okay. This will only show 100% after you complete all the classes. So our plan, this means the plan is good. It's ready for submission. It's already been checked. Now I have to approve the plan. So if Osman wants to do an internship, one of the requirements on the CPT application is that you have a signed plan of work. If you want to apply for scholarship, sometimes the requirement is a signed plan of work document. So what I can do as graduate program director is I can approve this plan of work and I can sign it electronically. And the way that we do that is by using something called the notes view. So right now we're in the edit view. You can go to the audit view. It just Oh, I want to save it. Yes, save. Save this. Okay, so this is the audit view, and it shows you the same information here, like the audit to make sure that you've met all the degree requirements. And on the right-hand side, it shows you which classes you're planning on taking in which term for how many credits. If you go to the notes view, calendar view, let's do that first. This just shows you which classes you're planning on taking what terms. The edit view is the one where you can actually edit your plan of work, the one that we were just working on. And then there's also the notes view. The notes view shows the courses you're taking every term, and it also shows notes. So I can add a note here that says your thing has been approved. So after you have gone through, made a plan of work, and you checked it over to make sure that it meets the degree requirements, email me. Send me an email, amar.basu@wayne.edu, and tell me that I would like my plan of work approved. And then what I will do is I will go through and I will lock this. So locking means that once I approve your plan of work, you can't change it. What you can do is you can save it as a new plan of work, and I can reapprove that new one. But if I approve it, then I don't want you changing it after it's been approved. So what I will do here is I will create a note that says approved by Amar Basu, and then I'll put the date 1/8/9/2017, and click done here. And that note will be added to your thing. So I will make this plan your active plan, and then lock it as well, and then save it. Now, if you need to print out your plan of work for whatever reason, you can click on the notes view, and you'll notice that it will say that this has been approved. So this serves as my electronic signature. And your tracking status says you're on track. That means you're on track to complete your degree requirements. So you want that green badge there. If it's a red badge, then we need to fix something. Then you can click on the bottom right corner. You can print this. And this printout is the printout that you can use as in your CPT applications or anything that requires you to have a signed plan of work. You click print here, and you can save it as a PDF. All right, now, what happens if I need to make a change to my plan of work? This one's already been saved and approved, so you can just create a new one. So you would go back to your edit view, and you can click Save As. Oh, this one is locked. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. All right, let's find, what was your access ID again? GM
7985.
7985, okay. All right, let's go back to the plan. It's locked. You can go to this edit view. And this plan, I guess you can't save it as a different one. I would have to remove the lock for you to do that. So what you'd have to do is just create a new plan. It's showing the process, using the process that I just showed you. Okay, email me when you're ready to have it approved, and I'll go on and approve it. Now what's going to happen is that at the end, at the time of your graduation, your last semester, you apply for graduation, the computer system will actually check to make sure that you've met all the degree requirements. So definitely like look over your progress every semester to make sure that the classes that you're taking meets our degree requirements. Because if it doesn't meet this audit, then you may have to stay an extra semester and complete a class. And no one wants to do that because it costs extra money and so on. If you have any questions about it, please email me. Okay. All right. Any questions on DegreeWorks? Pretty good. Okay. Well, then let's go back here. So we've covered pretty much this entire slide at this point. Slide set. Is there any other questions that we have?
Oh yeah, about
Yes,
the thing, as you said, people who register in winter, they have to do spring as well. Is it a department requirement or a international student requirement?
That is an international student requirement. So the International Student Office and the immigration rules, U.S. immigration rules, require you to be a student for 2 terms before you're eligible to take a vacation semester, which means like summer.
Oh, okay.
So students who come in the fall, they're a student in the fall and winter term. Now they can take the summer off.
Okay.
But students who come in the winter, they have to take 2 consecutive terms, right? After you do that, then you'll be eligible for doing internships. You'll be eligible for taking a vacation semester as well. A couple other things. There's things, these are also related to that you may have heard from OISS, the International Student Office as well. You can get an exception to full-time enrollment. If there's, for whatever reason, you can't take a full-time load of a specific term, there's a form you can fill out for that. Mm-hmm. If for whatever reason you need to take less than full-time, if those situations arise. Okay, so we have gone over the whole gamut here. We've gone over degree requirements. We've gone over plans of work and so on. The last thing that I want to do before we end today is go over our our faculty research, because this will help you select a potential advisor for those of you who are interested in doing the thesis option. So I'm just going to click on this one here. And in the interest of time, we'll do this. I'm just going to send this to you and just touch really quickly on what the main areas of research are. Okay. So this is our department and our 7 major areas of excellence: micro and nano devices, robotics and embedded systems, signals and information processing, power and energy, intelligent control, cloud computing, and integrated circuit design. So these are also the 6 areas that you'll see that appear on if you click on our degree curriculum, these are the 6 areas that you can, 6 or 7 areas that you can choose from in terms of concentration. Automotive electronics has been added here because Detroit is there are a lot of jobs in this area in automotive electronics. So this has some information about our graduate program and internships and employment. And what follows here is a description of each one of these areas, micro and nano systems, for example. And then it talks about the faculty members involved in each one of those areas. It also talks about the research facility that we have in the area of micro and nano fabrication, the types of devices we can make. And then there's 1 slide per faculty member. So if you're interested in working with a faculty member, look on this presentation and you'll be able to see a list of what the faculty members are working on. Professor Yongju, for example, is working on neural probes, wearable heart rate monitors, smart yarns, and so on. I'm working on microfluidics. This is my slide. Professor Payan Chen is working on advanced optical terahertz imaging and some very, very cool stuff. Just in the interest of time today, I want you to spend the time to just go through these slides on your own and see which faculty members, if you're interested in doing a thesis option, which faculty members you might be interested in working with. Even if you're not doing a thesis, perhaps you're interested in just volunteering in a lab. You can look over these faculty members and see which areas they do their work in. And it'll also give you an idea of our department's areas of expertise. If I can just mention, just in a couple minutes, what are the major areas. I mentioned one of the areas was micro and nanoscale sensors and devices and systems. So materials and device research, terahertz imaging and optics, nanoscale optics, Professor Yang Zhao, integrated optics, Professor Ivan Avrutsky. In the area of signals and information processing, Zach was here earlier. He was interested in that. So signals and information processing involves doing image processing, for example, recognizing objects. That's a big area in automotive right now, like with autonomous vehicles. Also, machine learning, if those of you heard of machine learning and data science, it's a huge area, very popular right now. Google has built a lot on machine learning and data science. Professor Matt Knockleby works in that area. John Liu works in telematics. Professor Asun works in linear systems and neural networks. These are their slides. Control systems, we have 3 faculty members who are very experienced in control systems. We have a very mature set of control systems classes for those of you who are interested in that area. Distributed and network control systems, cybernetics, that's Professor Lei Wang. Professor Hao Ying works in fuzzy and control systems, decision-making, intelligent processing. Professor Feng Lin works on systems and control, discrete time events and systems, and also like intelligent feedback control systems. These are a few slides about the areas that they work in. Power and energy, I know a few of you had mentioned interest in power and energy. Professor Ka-Shing Wang is one of our main faculty members in that area, working in power electronics, smart grid, and power generation. Professor Nasri has a lot of really popular and up-to-date courses on vehicle electrification, battery technology, and alternative energy. He also does research in that area. Professor Lei Wang, who works in controls as well, he works in controls for smart grid vehicles and generators. In the area of integrated circuit design, our chair, Professor Ismail, works in VLSI, low power circuits. Professor Mohammed Al-Wari, he's supposed to join this term, but I believe he's joining next term instead. He's a new faculty member working on self-powered wireless devices, integrated circuits. Harpreet Singh works on digital VLSI. Lubna Al-Zawi also works on digital VLSI, intelligent systems, and embedded systems. Professor Abhilash Pandya works in the robotics area, so if you're interested in robotics, he does some really cool stuff in that area. And Professor Nabil Sarhan works on multimedia network, computing and networking, like how YouTube delivers streaming videos and things like that, and surveillance videos and things like that. They can speak much more intelligently about the research that they do than I can, so I would suggest just looking at this presentation, which I'll send to you. I'll make available online. Okay, so it looks like we've gone quite over 2.5 hours. I appreciate your time. I know it takes a lot of time to get through all this stuff, but I want to make sure that you have all the information you need to be successful in your graduate program. So any final questions before we end up? Okay, great. We'll stop there. I will have this recording up online so that the students who are not here can view it later. And welcome to our program. Good luck. Office hours are 3:30 to 5, Tuesdays and Thursdays for me. Set up an appointment with me beforehand if you'd like to come and talk about stuff.
Sure.
All right. Good luck. Azim, thank you very much for allowing me to use you as a guinea pig.
So you'll be mailing the presentation?
Yes, I will email the presentation and also a link to the recording.